Hello, guys, and today I'm going to be actually kind of opening up a case of a former Homeland Security investigation special agent. Okay, this guy he had pull. He had pull. He's an ICE agent, but on a higher tier as a special agent, and the actual the investigations, the ability to be this mobile and this actual liberty that this guy actually uh, practiced is simply amazing. It's amazing because of the fact that there's no doubt in my mind that this guy actually had his own transportation, meaning his own pilot and his own Cessna, to actually conduct business between the States and South America, mainly Colombia. But in fact, he was in a position to where he met kingpins, and that's plural. Okay, so this is a story of an ICE agent, a special agent, I should say. He's 52 years old, and he um, apparently was assigned to actual uh, to investigate Colombian counter drugs basically for Colombia, but it doesn't say specifically if he was actually going after the product, the money, the political side, or the money. He does They don't really actually mention that for the fact that there's probably still cases in actual court that have not been finished, have not actually been came to a judgment. So that's why they won't tell you exactly what he investigated. Okay, so apparently he was sentenced to 3 years only. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you this right now. Every case is different. Every case is tried at a different level, especially when it comes to evidence and stuff. But for this guy to only get 3 years for what he actually admitted to, as a matter of fact. Okay, so he is actually charged for taking bribes, for orchestrating through multiple misrepresentations to numerous government agencies the dismissal of a drug trafficking indictment filed against a fugitive narcotics kingpin. In other words, he was able to actually take away all the evidence that this kingpin was actually presented to a grand jury, and they actually labeled him a kingpin, and that's an actual title too. Title the Kingpin Act. So they actually had enough actual evidence to indict this actual kingpin of numerous actual narcotics violations, money wise and so forth, right? So he actually, for example, he actually went to the DEA. I'm not saying this exactly happened, but he went to the U.S. Attorney's Office. He went to the Homeland Security Management, and he altered law enforcement records in order for this guy to not actually be tied to this actual conspiracy. Therefore, they closed the actual investigation on this kingpin and wrote it off as it's not workable, it's not pursuable for the fact that all the evidence that was presented to the grand jury was actually voided. Okay, so there was another actual. I don't think this guy was actually a kingpin, but he was up there. He was up there, and he was charged with a couple of conspiracies. So, um, but this actual individual had informants reporting on him. Okay, so what this ICE agent did, he actually disclosed the identities of confidential sources who operated against this actual second kingpin. 3 times he did it. And again, he made numerous misrepresentations to the attorney's office and to Homeland Security Management. Again, so therefore, he was actually dismissed from the actual act, indictment that they presented to the grand jury. He was actually dismissed because nobody can obtain probable cause. Also, he also falsified concurrency of several other federal agents and attempts to parole the first gentleman, the first kingpin that I actually mentioned. He actually tried and made an effort to parole this kingpin into the United States. And let me explain that to you guys. When you parole somebody, it could be for numerous actual reasons. For example, if you're a scientist, if you're some kind of engineer, some kind of actual physics genius, and the U.S. and you can actually benefit the U.S. and the actual citizens of the U.S. can actually benefit from that, they will grant you until they can actually arrange papers for you to actually be in the United States. Another one would be if a humanitarian side. For example, if you need medical treatment, if you need to visit a relative that's actually had medical procedures, if if you can be separated from your family, you could actually apply for that too, and a few more other things. But it's you have to actually apply. You just can't bring him in. He actually has to go into a port or a terminal and actually claim um, for whatever reason that he actually bring him in. So he actually tried to bring in this actual the first kingpin as a parole. Now, for him to actually conduct all this stuff that I already named, this guy had pull on both sides. Okay, so I think where they actually got him is that he actually met these two individual kingpins. He met them for dinner, and it's laughable, okay? But they said they're mentioning they approximately gave him $20,000 in cash and dinner and drinks and provided prostitution. Okay, but I'm thinking that 20,000 it was just for him for that night to spend because this guy he's worth more than 20. If he did all that for you, 20,000 is only a tip, and one can only imagine where they actually have his money that he really truly deserved or earned in their eyes. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, um, the government won't see it, won't actually freeze it, won't actually take it from you. So they mentioned the 20 grand, but that 20 grand was for that night to spend. I'm almost positive. If it involves the prostitution, especially, I'm pretty sure. And so for him to only get 3 years, that's that is that's a slap in the face for other agents that are getting 8 years, that are getting actual, 15 years for corruption. But yet, this guy is your top guy. This guy is what you call uh, he's got juice in both actual countries, and for him not to fear his own life in Colombia, come on. And I'm thinking that maybe um, somebody actually reported it because this happened about 3 years ago. So I'm pretty sure that this actually um, got reported by some low level actual agent that kind of did some digging around and actually had to do the follow up for removing this actual two guys from the Kingpin Act. And they had a few questions, and they determined that this actual agent was working both sides. And for the guy to give up three informants to this guy, we don't know what happened to them informants. There was three sources cooperating against the second kingpin, three different individuals, three different times. It's just so this guy actually was he was up there in the actual counter drug, counter immigration, ICE, immigration customs and enforcement. He was up there in rank and in power. You know, but for the months that they actually gave him only 36 months. And the second kingpin actually he's uh he's sentenced to 27 months as of this year in January, but it doesn't say that he's actually locked up. He's it's an open warrant. Um, he's already been tried and without him actually being present, so he's already actually received 27 months. He has the option to turn himself into any actual court to do that time and get rid of it, or be a fugitive. And the first kingpin, he's actually locked up in the Republic of Colombia. You know, but we all know how that goes. And so that's how it went down. Yep, that's how it went down. So that's just a quick bit on a not so very equal justice for this actual case. Okay, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.